everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I'm excited to have a wonderful guest speaker, Jamie Lomax, here with us today. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you, Darrin. Thanks for having me here today on the podcast.
So Jamie is two hats on this call today. She is a published author, and she's also a supplier that will be at H&H Americas. Would you take a few moments and introduce yourself, your company, and then we'll kind of pause, and then I'll ask you some more questions there, and then we'll go forward.
Sounds great. Thank you. So my name is Jamie Lomax. I am a knitting pattern designer that operates out of the Seattle, Washington area, Pacific Northwest. I own and operate my company called Pacific Knit Co., where I design modular knitting patterns that allow people to design and knit exactly what they want by picking sort of the parts and pieces that they have and putting those together to build their own custom project. And what's really great is I've got products that I'll be showing at the show for these knitting patterns, as well as a book that will be I'll signing at the show as well. Hopefully you can edit some of that out. I'm so sorry. So this is going to be really fun. I'll be there as an author. I have a brand new book that came out in October 2024, the Doodle Knit Directory, which really walks through the in-depth process of how to design those projects and build them together. They're colorwork knitting projects where you pick a shape like a hat or a scarf, then you pick colorwork charts such as a polar bear, a penguin, a flower, a leaf, any sort of motif that you like, and then you build that with the custom colors that you like. So you're kind of taking these steps to build your custom design. And this book really walks you through all of those pieces. So I will have that book available at the show, as well as I'll be signing at the show for that book.
In talking about this book, and partially because I'm not personally a knitter, right? We run the show here. I'm assuming, is it a new concept, as you say, modular knitting, where you kind of take different pieces and components and put it into a larger project? Is that a more modern technique? Like, who does that technique speak to? Tell us a little bit more about that technique.
That's a really great question. This book takes a age-old idea, which is micro motifs for Fair Isle colorwork knitting, which is typically a small version of a motif of different types of designs. And a lot of times those are in stitch dictionaries. For example, my core product that I will have at my booth as a supplier at the show is actually taking what is historically found in a stitch dictionary and putting those on a deck of cards. And so I do have some examples I can show here where we take a card deck, and those motifs that you would typically find in a book or on a digital pattern are arranged instead on an individual card. So this one is a Halloween themed one. So you see bats and ghosts and jack-o'-lanterns, those types of things. And what's really cool about this product is that it takes the creativity and puts it really kind of in the knitter's hands physically. And then what they do with these cards is they put them on a table and they'll physically rearrange the different motifs that they like in an order. So if you, for example, wanted to build a little Halloween sock, you could take a moon and a ghost and a bat and a pumpkin, and then that's how you build your chart in an order. So it's cool about these cards, you don't have to print them, you don't have to cut them out. They're already sort of individually packaged. And so I have these thematic sets where you can mix and match these types of cards. And then what the book really does is takes these types of cards that I have and builds a lot of background into that. So if you're a little bit new to experimenting with color work, or you haven't really done your build your own projects before, or don't know how to modify pattern, for example, the book is sort of your in-depth kind of 101 resource with a lot of background information and a lot of details about exactly how to use the charts, how to alter the charts, how to assemble the charts, how to pick colors that are cohesive in a yarn palette. And so the book is a great example of really the background information of what you would need to know to do this project. And then the product that I'll be selling in my booth will be a little bit more of the thematic card decks, which you can get in Halloween themes. I have garden, farm. I've got different locations like London and Paris. I've got basic seasonal ones such as winter or summer. And those are really fun for large stores specifically, in addition to my book, to kind of have as something that encourages customer creativity.
And what was there kind of an inspiration for setting you on this journey, like to become an author and to put these ideas and to kind of take this concept and as you say, make this card deck to kind of make this product? Was it just a personal interest? Was there a problem that you were solving for yourself or for customers of yours? What's the inspiration behind having either one of these two items?
That's a great question. So I started knitting during COVID. I was working a corporate job and I was on Teams calls all the time. And I have ADHD, so I needed something to do with my hands. I took up knitting because I think everyone took up a craft during COVID lockdown. So my craft was knitting, and I started working on projects, and I would buy other people's patterns, but I would want to alter them and do my own thing, maybe change a motif. I really wanted to start to like customize what I had as a starting point. And so I went to Google, I did YouTube, and I found out all these different ways to start to learn how to customize my own pattern or learn how to make modifications. And then one day I was talking to my sibling, and I'm like, why don't you just design a pattern? I was like, can I do that? Can I just design one and sell it? And I did. I made my pattern, and it was really fun. The first ones are the very old ones are not the same sort of system, but within about a year, I was designing a Christmas winter themed pattern, and it was designed to be sort of like wrapping paper for gifts, where there was a bunch of geometric motifs and sort of festive colors. And I had put it together in certain order on my pattern. So I had put the charts in an order, but I started to think like, why would someone need to follow exactly what I did? What if I put the charts in the pattern individually and people could build whatever they wanted? And that really took off. I got great feedback on that, and I started to make different themes that continued to build on that idea. And for a while, it was just as a PDF. People would print it out with like PDF, they'd follow the pattern. But I started to get knitters that would print them out, cut out all the charts, and then start to design them individually. And so when they were printing and cutting, it was really eye-opening to me that they wanted them individually, which led to putting them on the cards. So about 2 years ago, we tested this for an Advent. It was a special release. It was intended to really be a one-time thing, but it was so well received. People were like, you should do that for all of them. And I was like, well, okay. And now this is my full-time job. I do this every day. I quit my corporate job last year, and now all I do is design these really cool modular colorwork patterns that allow creative knitters to really do whatever they like with their pattern, and it's super fun.
Well, congratulations on that. That sounds quite exciting. Can you tell me, so if people want to meet you, obviously, as you said, you have a booth. Would you share with everyone what your booth number is? But then also, I hear you're signing books. So if you can tell tell the audience how they can come find you and where and when.
For sure. Darrin, I do not remember my booth number. I am in the Indie Untangled Pavilion. So I will be, I have a booth under Pacific Knit Co. That is my company name. I will be there all week. I will also have a special appearance at the David and Charles booth. That's my publisher that I've been working with on my first book. So if you wanted to pick up my really cohesive like 101 guide to all of these projects, that is also available for wholesale in your shops. This product will be at the David and Charles booth, also in the Indie Untangled Pavilion. And I will be signing books in their booth on Wednesday, May 7th at 11 a.m. And I would love for you to come by and meet me, ask me any questions that you have. I'd love to sign your book. If you don't hit that time with me at David and Charles's booth, please feel free to pick up a book with them and then bring it over to my booth, and I'd be happy to sign it as well throughout the rest of the week.
Lovely. And your booth number is 1625.
Oh, yeah. So I will be at booth number 1625 in the Indie Untangled Pavilion. My booth is called Pacific Knit Co. That is my company name. And then my product, both the book is the Doodle Knit Directory, and then my card decks are called Doodle card decks. So Doodle is sort of the product that I have, and Pacific Knit Co. would be my booth.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me for a little bit here today. I'm quite excited to stop by and see the book and see the cards myself. I hope everyone does go by and says hello to you. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Darrin. It's been great.
Welcome, Heidi. Thank you so much for joining me today and to have a short conversation about H&H Americas. For those that don't know, Heidi is from Hen and Chick Studio. Heidi, would you please introduce where you are on this planet and a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you, Darrin. So excited about the fact that H&H Americas is coming up quickly. And I will be coming in from Conrad, Iowa. So I'm just about 5 hours from the Chicago area, right in central Iowa, where I own and operate a quilt shop and 2 retreat centers for quilters and crafters. We have a lot of scrapbookers and a lot of quilters that come and spend days, if not, lots of a week, with us, getting to have time to dedicate to their craft. So that's where I'm at.
Wonderful. So you've been around H&H for a while. Can you tell us, what are your thoughts on the show in general? Like, why do you keep coming every year as a shop owner, as a part of this community?
Well, Darrin, it is so important as a retailer to network and to get education. Those two things are endless needs. And by all means, everything that you are doing at H&H is just driven to making that happen. So I love being able to interact with not only other quilt shop owners, but also the producers of the products that we're selling. And the mix of products that is at H&H is very interesting. It's eye-opening. It's gives you a pause to think of what other areas could my business go into, whether that's more knitting or some other craft. So that has been wonderful as well. And then the education. There are so many resources. You couldn't afford to go to all of these individual experts in some other form, some other place. And you have been able to bring so many people under one roof that you can, just really use your time wisely when you come to H&H. I mean, I'm still talking about one of the classes that I took last year at H&H, and that's the way it should be, is that that you have that opportunity for some great education.
Wonderful. Well, with that, you're going to be leading a class yourself this year. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're offering?
Yes, my class has to do with customer engagement. In this day and age, it is not just as simple as I have product, I'm selling that product, come buy that product. There has got to be community. There has got to be a sense of familiarity. There has to be connection between you and the customer. And I love finding different ways to do that. And in the class, we're going to be talking about all sorts of different ways of how to engage your customers, not just for a single purchase, but for a lifetime.
Well, and I think what may also be unique for folks, if you haven't already figured it out from listening to you, you're speaking not as an educator, not as a consultant, not as a rep or a manufacturer. You're actually speaking as a shop owner and sharing maybe some secret sauce to what makes your shop so special. Right. And I think that presents information at a different level because you are one of them talking to them.
Correct. And my philosophy has always been, I'd rather be a river than a reservoir, which means if there is some piece of information that I am doing and I can share it with you, then I will do that. And if anybody has been in any of my classes in the past or seen me on the main stage, I share what is really happening in my store. I don't sugarcoat it. I don't, I just show the numbers the way it is. I talk about the details the way they are, because I want other shop owners to understand that maybe they're not that big, but that there is room for growth. Or maybe they go, hey, she's having the same success or failure that I am. It's nice to know that somebody else is doing the same thing. And so, I'm going to be showing lots of different events that I've been doing and how I've been successful in those, what I've learned from it. And again, whatever information I can share, that will be my goal.
Kind of an out-of-the-box question, not necessarily about your class, but as we now are coming up on halfway through the year, it's kind of quickly approaching us already. I can't believe how fast the pages are turning. How's retail today? Are you finding it the same as it's always been? Are there new challenges? Is our current economic climate causing different issues that may be more than expected? Like, how would you speak to your current climate, particularly in the middle of America? Like what does it look like in the middle of America?
Sure. First of all, I would tell you that I am as engaged with my customers as I am with my financials. So I really do review numbers, where my sales are, all of those kinds of things. I finally felt like 2024 was the year that we've started to bounce back up. You know, there was that COVID hike. Things had to kind of come back down and settle down a little bit. And I felt like 2024 was back up, which means that, you know, quilting is to me a slow growth business. So I was back up. 2025 is already looking to be on the positive side as well. But it's different, Darrin. It is absolutely different out there. I mean, I'm working for every dollar that I'm getting. I'm pushing the envelope of what I can do in social media. I'm using AI to be my right hand, my left hand, and my business advisor so that I can maximize every minute that I have, and figure out how to do things like that. I feel like there is a level of what are the acronyms? Shoppertainment and edutainment. I think those are the two. They're not rolling off my tongue at the moment. But it's people have choices of where they can go and buy things. And I have to make it so that the consumer wants to choose Hen and Chick Studio. And so I'm trying to give them all of those reasons, not just, hey, we've got this great product, but how does it fit into the lifestyle? How does it fit into their daily life of am I bringing them joy? Am I educating them? Am I sharing with them? And all of those things are, I believe, critical. Video is not going away and, you know, is absolutely important, and understanding email marketing. I mean, I could go on and on. The landscape, I think there's a lot of positives, but my goal in 2025 is to control my inventory because it's one of the things that I can control. And it's not easy. So I'm digging out those open to buy charts again. And I'm having Chat GPT tell me, proper margins and all these kinds of things, really, again, trying to dig into those financials and make sure that the cash flow is there in the right places at the right time so that I'm not, scraping around trying to pay for the product that I'm buying.
I'm just going to say we dropped the mic there because that is well said. My biggest takeaway from listening to you is that, look, there's opportunity out there. You can run successful, profitable businesses. Like all businesses, you have to be careful. As tight as the economy might be at the moment, and any imports or not import tariffs and not import tariffs and all the chaos that we hear in the news, you can still run a good business. You just have to be smart about it.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. Absolutely.
That's good to know. And we see the same. I mean, even at H&H, like, yes, we are getting some pressure about issues of travel, issues of what's going on in the economy. But this year's H&H, for those that haven't yet purchased a ticket or still like, should I take it? Is it worth the investment? There are now 532 companies presenting product. It's about 50-50 parity between sewing, quilting versus fiber side of things. And then there's some nice crafting and notion stuff mixed in. There's over 230 classes, networking, special events. If you can't find something to do, you just did not look at the webpage. From documentary movies to fashion shows to cosplay to designer meetups. There's a ton of things going on this year. So we're very excited where it's going. We even now have 27 nations coming to display product. So we've even had more nations than ever. Still coming.
And as a retailer, what that says to me is if I walk through that show with my eyes wide open and my ears open to listening, I'm going to see new things, new opportunities. I'm going to meet new people. Maybe at the end of the day, I'll say, you know what, that's not a product for me, but I'm aware of it. Or I say, hey, I've been thinking about, I'm going to say playing in this area. And look what I saw. Here's the resources that I can now have because I went to H&H. And I think that's something, that I would absolutely encourage every person attending, is to not walk through the aisles thinking, oh, I don't do that. No, I don't do that. I just do this. Because things are continuing to change. And with the opportunity of so much internet sales and different things, that you've got to look at all of those things.
Well, and I mean, we all know Joann's Fabric has ceased to exist, unfortunately, for such a storied organization and family that started it. To the flip side, someone's rotten apple is someone's pie, I guess. I don't know, whatever a good analogy is. But the reality is, if that was your competitor in your town, you now have one less competitor that, yes, maybe you need a different product assortment because they offered a different end of the market, but it's a nice gateway to get people in, to move them along their buying journey. But that was about $3.5 billion in revenue going somewhere.
It's going somewhere.
So the question is, how much can you take of it?
Absolutely. And I think it's a great conversation to have. And I don't think the answer is always stock up, but I think the answer is, by all means, conversations with people. Did you know we have interfacing? We don't make a big deal about the interfacings that we have, but yet we have all the basic interfacings that are needed for making t-shirt quilts and making bags and all that kind of stuff. So recently when I had some interfacing come in, it was an opportunity for me to say, hey, these are the ones we carry. If there's one you need, let me know. I'll see how I can, if I can get it. Just remember, I might need a 2-week lead time to get that product in.
Yeah. Or when you're looking at machines and furnishings, maybe there's relationships to be had with these vendors that it's almost dropship or order on demand, where you can have catalogs and you can just bring in the furniture or ship it right to the customer's house when they want to do something different, where it expands even more that you can offer.
Absolutely.
So one final question for you. If you were to boil down what you're going to have in your class, and it's someone who hasn't signed up yet, which one, let me state for everyone that's listening, Thursday, May 8th, 10:30 a.m., room 13. You can find Heidi teaching her course, but give me like 3 reasons why I should take my heart and help and buy your class.
Well, first of all, do you want to have customers in your business? Are you looking for customers? Do you need more customers? Do you want to keep the customers you have? If you answer yes to any of those, absolutely, this is the class to take. But I always think that in any of these classes, it's also the questions that others come with. So, coming to any class, and I would love it to be mine, that you come with that open mind of, I do need more customers. I do want to improve my customer relations. And how am I going to hear what is being said around me and take that in and maybe find something new to consider in my business?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today. I encourage everyone to check out your class. Come on to hnh.com, click on schedule details. You can see all of the instructors that we have on all of the events that are going on. And if nothing else, when you see Heidi on the show floor, just stop her and say hello.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Heidi.
Thank you, Darrin.